Doing all right. Playing videographer here. All right.
1st, 2025. August 31st, sorry, August 31st, 2035. We'll get this straight. So that's 79 years, 363 days before the signing of the World War II resolution in Tokyo Bay. So we're going to start with a prayer and Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, Pledge of Allegiance up. Who's going to do it?
When the war ended, I was down in St. Augustine, Florida.
All right, if you would
But I
please
lived
rise.
during the war in Ohio. Yeah.
Join with me.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to have, you can be seated, thank you. We're going to show you a brief slideshow of the end of World War II and things that were going on here in Evansville during that time. Because Evansville was vital in the success in the victory over fascism during World War II. So as on Tuesday, September 2nd, we celebrate the 80th anniversary of the end of that war, we want to recognize those that were a part of that in many aspects, and we'll do that during this program. But we want to show you a brief slideshow of things of celebration at the end of the war and things Evansville did during the war, and then there is a brief video, 3 minutes long, at the end of it with President Truman declaring the war ended. So if you would, enjoy this slideshow. So remember, May 6th was the VE Day in Europe, and then we had September 2nd, VA Day in Japan. VA Day in Japan was even more important because it concluded the whole war. So these are newspaper articles that we've obtained talking about what Truman did. Remember, Truman didn't know about the autumn bomb until after FDR was deceased. That's on the USS Missouri in Tokyo Harbor, September 2nd. 2 days from now, it'll be 80 years. There's that famous picture. There's a picture of that guy down in South Carolina. He's about 20 feet tall, kissing that girl. These are some of the things Evansville did. Up on the left, you see the shipyard. And the bottom of the shipyard, just amazing what they did. International Steel, the building's still there, revolving doors. There you see P-47, that's making the steel there again. There's Republic Aviation, International Harvester, then Whirlpool. And there's the assembly line, 10 planes a day, one every 2.5 hours. Chrysler making the bullets. Some of your family worked there. We didn't make bullets before. Refurbished tanks there. That's very important. Pistols, the 45, we made a lot of bullets. There's Cervell, a lot of people worked there. We've got a refrigerator in the corner and another one made from Cervell, but they made wings and
many other parts. There's the E Award, Bucyrus Erie, Hoosier Cardinal, Me Johnson, Boots, Hercules, again a Hoosier Cardinal, Briggs made parts for the B-29, 8 parts. You got Hercules, there's the junkyard down in Mr. Hitch will talk to you. The kids collected things. Milkweed ponds on the bottom. There's a picture up on the right upper. Jim Hitch will talk about Central Bears donated for that. Community activities, you had all these people here, they had to do something. There's the Red Cross room. Red Cross wasn't very big, but it opened for 4 years straight. USO, and that was moved those 4 pillars downtown now. War is over, this is a big deal. I think those guys on the left had too much. Maybe not, maybe they're just tired. They're tired swabbies. That it? Okay, now you got a video. Thank you for coming today. Remember, we're celebrating the 80th anniversary of probably the worst war that civilization's ever seen. Unbelievable. As we get the video going, remember, United States had 15 million veterans in the war. In Vietnam, we had 9 million veterans, but out of those 16 million, that's what helped us win the war. And we won it by the industrial infrastructure, and that's a big part of what Evansville did. We got, if you look at the city, when you come into the city, there's a mayor's name, but above the mayor, there's a little sign there that says, World War II Heritage City. We're the only one in Indiana, one of 39 in the United States, and the only one that'll ever be in Indiana. That plane over there is the Indiana plane. There was no more other planes made in Indiana. So that's our state plane designated in 2019. So you got a lot to be proud of. You got to teach these kids about this stuff. Doesn't matter if I know it, I'm gonna be croaking in the next 10 to 20 years, I'll be 25, but these kids gotta learn it. If they don't learn it, you've missed your mission. They have to learn what happened in World War II. And you have to learn what Evansville did in World War II. You guys ready yet? We're working on a film here. So you have to teach these kids. You gotta bring them out here, we got simulators over here, and they just get part of this information. It's very important. So you are the teachers, not just the teachers in school, but parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles. And they just get out here for an hour a week or an hour a month. That's a tremendous thing that they'll learn by just osmosis, even if they don't read one of these things. But we're trying to make this a place so kids learn something. So we're working on our video. So I'm gonna say, Jack, why don't you come here and do a prayer? We'll do a prayer and then, okay, you're ready. Okay, go ahead.
All right. We have technical difficulties with our video, so we're going to skip that part. We're going to go right to, we're going to have a candle lighting service right now to remember all of those who were involved in World War II. And McKay, she's going to light the candles for us. So when I conclude with the candle lighting, then Mr. Jack Buttram is going to come up and say a prayer. The first candle for the U.S. citizens. Every U.S. citizen faced sacrifices during World War II, from personal hardship to direct contribution to the war effort. Key sacrifices included rationing of essential goods, blackouts, planting victory gardens, and participating in scrap drives. Many also sold war bonds and stamps to fund the war, volunteered for civil defense, and women entered the industrial workforce in large numbers for the first time. They also made emotional and financial sacrifices. Families at home experienced significant emotional strain with constant worries about the safety and well-being of relatives serving in the military. The financial burden of the war effort was immense, with citizens contributing through war bonds and adapting to the scarcity of goods. The collective goal of contributing to the war effort fostered a widespread sense of shared responsibility and purpose among the American people. Children in the United States. U.S. children contributed to the World War II war effort by collecting and recycling scrap materials, buying war bonds and stamps, and planting victory gardens. However, they also endured sacrifices such as rationing of food and goods, increased household responsibilities due to mothers working in the absence of fathers who were serving or had died in the military. Many children's lives were shaped by propaganda and a strong sense of civic duty, which instilled patriotism and a national unity that lasted into their adult lives. The experience of wartime contributed to the development of values such as service, patriotism, and national unity in the children who lived through it. U.S. war workers. U.S. war workers during World War II endured sacrifices including longer work hours, hazardous conditions, career and life plan disruption, and separation from family, while rationing and shortages of goods like food and gasoline were common. They experienced emotionally taxing separations from loved ones serving overseas and sometimes faced workplace discrimination. The home front was faced with societal changes as millions of women and minority workers entered factories, and even young people and the elderly took on new roles. Many did all of this while participating in community involvement through volunteerism. U.S. veterans of World War II. U.S. veterans of World War II made significant sacrifices, including loss of life and comrades, enduring physical and mental hardships, separation from families, career disruptions, and strained relationships. Beyond personal struggles, they also faced the challenges of returning to civilian life and experiencing the trauma of combat. Contributing to their profound impact on the war effort and future generations, these veterans placed their lives on hold while facing incredible hardship. Many endured severe trauma and loss of innocence. Their sacrifices are seen as the price paid for the democracy and freedom enjoyed by future generations. Those that made the ultimate sacrifice. The ultimate sacrifice experienced by the United States during World War II was immense. The deaths of approximately 407,000 service members and injuries to many others began with the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, marking a horrific beginning to U.S. involvement. Millions of men and women served with sacrifices ranging from large-scale battles to individual acts of heroism. The nation's commitment was reflected in its numerous war memorials and cemeteries across Europe and the Pacific, a lasting testament to the cost of freedom. The American Battle Monuments Commission maintains 29 permanent World War II cemeteries and memorials in Europe, the Pacific, and the United States, preserving the memories of those that made the ultimate sacrifice to defeat tyranny and fascism. On this day, we commemorate the 80th anniversary of this victory and all the sacrifices that made it possible. Mr. Butler.
Bow with me, please, in an attitude of prayer. Father God, as we come today to celebrate the end of World War II, it's appropriate that we offer our grateful thanks for your participation that led to our victory over tyranny and oppression. We come today with tears of joy over our victory and tears of sadness over the huge loss of life the victory caused. When our forefathers had the vision to add under God to our Pledge of Allegiance, they recognized that you are in charge, and our leaders constantly reminded us of that. I remember as a 12-year-old sitting at my desk January the 8th, 1941, listening to our president conclude the Day of Infamy speech to the nation when he said, "With confidence in our armed forces, with unbounded determination of our purpose, we will gain the inevitable victory, so help us God." And I remember General Eisenhower's message on the evening of the Normandy invasion when he said, The hopes and prayers of the free world will be with you. And a 19-year-old private named Rico Pace wrote a poem 2 weeks after he participated in the Omaha Beach invasion, when he said, "We drove the enemy to the rear. We hope to win sometime this year. Yes, God was with us all the way. I hope he is with us this day." And of course, Father, we all remember the most famous prayer of the war, when General Patton, during a dark time of the Battle of the Bulge, and his army bogged down by the weather, helped his chaplain to prepare a prayer asking you for better weather. He closed his conversation with you with these words: "Fair weather for battle, graciously hearken us as soldiers, who call upon thee, that armed with thy power we may advance to victory, and crush the oppression and wickedness of our enemies, and establish thy justice among men and nations." And the weather cleared for battle the next day. And Father, per the request of Private Pace, you did stay with us. You gave us thousands of brave young folks motivated to save our nation. Thank you for allowing me to meet and know some of them. Thank you for letting me know Major Alan Sanderson, who flew 118 combat missions in a P-47 Thunderbolt airplane. Thank you for allowing me to meet and have occasional coffees at Wood's Drugstore with a man named Charlie Browning, father of Mark, who a few times told me about him serving for years on an LST made in Evansville. And thank you for allowing me to know my personal minister, Reverend Rachel Miller, a member of the Chaplain Corps, who was awarded 2 Civil Stars for saving casualties under fire, and continued this action even being wounded. And my cousin, Robert Bogan, who assigned military police duty and temporarily lost his eyesight because he lost his eye shield while directing traffic on the beach of Normandy. And then there was a fellow named Byard Buck Nunn, who I met while we worked together in construction. Buck enlisted in the Marine Corps as an 18-year-old and was assigned a unit to the Pacific War. His company, about 95 men strong, took part in 5 invasions, wading through water under relentless enemy fire. Of the original 95 men of his company, only 8 were still in the company by the end of the war. The others had either been killed or wounded. While he and I were touring Washington, D.C. one day, we passed by the Iwo Jima monument, depicting the Marines raising the flag. And he casually mentioned that he had seen it and happened in person. When I asked him how he felt about it, his response was simply, "We got the hill." Father, the men I've spoken of are now with you. Please know that we come today in celebration of their victory. Help us to remember, we celebrate you, and we celebrate the thousands of men like the ones mentioned above who gave so much for us. And for we ask all of this in your holy name. Amen.
Well, I think the prayer was the main address, just about. So thank you, Jack. A lot of good preparation there. And again, thank all of you for coming. He mentioned my father, and so my father led me in a lot of things in life. But I think the thing I'm most proud of him leading me into things was patriotism. I think that's a little what we're doing today is patriotism. Patriotism is something you're going to teach your kids. He taught me. And at 9/11, when 9/11 happened, I thought somebody took both his arms off. The United States had been invaded on December 7th, and then again with 9/11. only 2 times in the last century that we'd been invaded by the enemy. But I never thought it was like he lost his child, but he understood the wisdom and the beauty of our infrastructure. He understood what the United States was. He understood all the things that you have. It's a 5% chance being born in the United States, and every one of you have a heck of a privilege. And it's up to us to pass that off to our offspring. Not just about the history, but about patriotism, about how fine this country is. And we need to leave today to understand we had the best, the most beautiful, and the most famous country in the world. And that's a little bit what this is today. And these people in the front row are people that were living during that time. And they're going to tell us just a minute or 2 stories. And that's what it's about today, not about us talking or other things. It's about them saying a few things. And remember, many of your ancestors were in the same situation. But today we gather to reflect on a moment of history that changed the world. The signing of the peace treaty that ended World War II on September 2nd, 1945, aboard the USS Missouri. General Douglas MacArthur, plus the Emperor Hirohito, were representatives from both countries, and they signed a formal document that would end a conflict that had touched every corner of the globe. In that moment, the world began to heal from a terrible, terrible war. And some of you have lost loved ones in that war. I lost an uncle, and it changed my wife, my mother's family during their whole life. He said, Bruce said 407,000. That didn't mean anything. There's 1 out of 407,000 I know changed a life. It changed some of your family lives. So those warriors that gave their lives for our freedom are so important. Remember the weight of that day, September 2nd, the relief of the soldiers, and the hope that rose from the ashes. To our veterans and wartime workers, which are here, veterans and wartime workers, they not only defended our freedom, but also built a foundation for a peaceful future. Remember, after World War I, we didn't build a foundation, and we all had chaos, and we had World War II. So let us honor this legacy. Let us carry forward the lessons of history and ensure that the sacrifices made are never forgotten. Now, I'm going to walk to each table, and I'm going to let each veteran just say a minute or 2 of things. And this is the key to today's event, is we're going to have the first, we're going to have this, with Jack already talked, we're going to have this second person talk. His name's Jim Whalen, and I'm going to bring the microphone over to him if I can have a microphone. And we're going to talk about him. Now, it's very interesting. He was on an LST over by the Philippines, and something happened to his LST. He's going to tell about it. So remember, we made most of the LSTs, or we made 167 LSTs here. Give it to Mr. in the green, yeah. Okay, Jim, just tell us what it felt like when a torpedo hit your LST. Okay, you're on.
Thank you, Doctor. Well, I guess the most traumatic thing was we were in a convoy. There was 9 LSTs, and we had 7 first-line destroyers at escort going to Mindoro Island. Well, evidently the Japanese saw us kind of like sitting ducks, so they started. We were the 3rd ship in the line of 3, so they started up here at the left, 1, 2, 3, and then first 2 they took out. Well, naturally we thought we were the next one, and as it was true. The only problem, I think this pilot probably had 1 too many drinks of sake before he left, because his aim was not very good. He hit the bow of the ship, and it went off into the sea with no harm. Yeah, I'll take that back. The duty officer was standing on the boat deck, and he thought this plane was going to hit the bridge, so he jumped down and broke his ankle. But that was the only casualty on the ship.
Thank you very much, Jim. One of the things I was remiss in saying is I'd like all the veterans to stand up and realize, say to the veterans, you can stand up, doesn't hurt you. Okay, and remember, I want to give a little bit of a hand to every veteran here. Remember, each one of them signed a sheet to support the Constitution. You ought to go home and read the Constitution. That is a tremendous written work, but that's what they did, and they were all subjected to harm's way. Not all of them in harm's way, but they were subjected to that. So thank you, all your veterans. We can't thank you enough. You're what gave us freedom. Freedom is not free. If you look at any funeral, you have a flag, and that flag is not free. That costs that individual's life, and it's very expensive to that family. I have to my right here, this is Marvin Sue and his wife. He was also in World War II. He's an Optimist member, and he tremendous effort in World War II, and his wife might say a word or two about him. Go ahead, sit down, Marvin.
Well, we got married before he went to service. He went over and was over in Germany and Berlin for 2 years. He was guarding the soldiers, the Russians and the other people. And he came back, and we had a family of 4 children and 6 great-grandchildren and 7 grandchildren. And we've had a happy life of 80 years.
You heard her right, 80. Jack Buttram just had 75 years a couple years ago. 75's long, 70's long. See, you don't hear anybody 80 years. They were both on the news. 80 years of marriage. Can you believe that? And they're still together. Johnny's not going to talk today, but Johnny was both in World War II and in Korea. He didn't want to say a whole lot.
And he worked at Servell before that.
Worked at Servell before the war. So remember, a lot of these wing inspection. Thank you, Bruce. So a lot of these people worked at the factory and they went to war, and some came back. There wasn't any factory to work at except no war factory when they came back. Now this young lady, this is Emily Phillips Ewald, and she's going to be 100 in about three months. So she throw 3 weeks, okay, 3 weeks. And tell us a little bit of what you did during the wartime, Emily.
I first went to work for Servell, and Servell had been a factory that made gas refrigerators, and I was very familiar with that because we moved to a farm in southern Illinois with no electricity, with the whole war without electricity. But we had
Invented rubber then, so that was big in rubber production, and so then she came down here, and remember 97% of the troops in World War II went by train, so when they went by train they were full of troops, and the goods 90% of the troops. Anything else you can think of, Genovina, that's a pretty name. Genevieve, whatever. Okay, the other thing is we're missing Irv Levine. He got sick this morning. He's 102. He cut his own lawn until he was 100, and he couldn't make it. He got a little sick, but he was over in the hump, and he usually tells a story about being in the hump, and he ran the radio waves there in Kunming, China, and also Chabua, India, and he flew over the hump and then worked at both those places. And he lives on the east side by himself. He has a caretaker there, and he quit cutting his lawn a couple years ago, so you had to find somebody else to cut your lawn. So this is our honor roll, and we got honor rolls of veterans out there, and we probably missed some of you, but this is a tremendous tribute to people, and we're trying to educate the next generation. And I won't give you another lecture on patriotism, but I think I can't think. Okay, today we have a special thing, It's video booths, and we're doing video booths. You don't want to do it today. We have 3 video booths set up. One in the old simulator room that directly left of me. There's another one upstairs, and then there's another one right behind the front desk. What we're trying to do is capture stories, just like you heard these stories. These stories are going to be very valuable to your grandkids, great-grandkids, later on of what really happened at this time. And you can have the written word, but the spoken word and the video is so good. We're going to trap them in our archives. If you can't do it today, you call us out here and we'll be glad to video it. We'll give you a copy, give you 1 copy to your family, we'll put it on DVD, and I think it needs to be done. It's trapping history of what happened, just how these people talked. And actually, you don't have to be a warrior, you can be a worker here, you can tell the story about your dad or mom. And we've got 400 uniforms, and we want you to bring uniforms, we want you to bring any relics you have here, because we will take care of it, and we will reveal the story. If you look on where we have our uniforms, we have the story of those warriors, and we want stories of your warriors, of your family. And any relics, we will preserve them and take good care of them. Our new room is a Holocaust room, and we're going to rotate around the city at different nursing facilities and schools. And we have a teaching program here. They have taught 1,500 kids in 23, 1,524, and there will be 3,000 this year. We can't be more proud. We're reaching out just like the LST reaches out to different cities. We're going to reach out and communicate this information to people that they don't get it in school. School time has to pass. I-STEPs, they don't have time to go over all these things. And kids, if they just spend 1 day here, they learn more about World War II than they do in school, only because you can't teach wars from 3000 BC till now in a week. It just takes too much. So we thank you for coming today. There's cookies and some soft drinks. Got the Girl Scouts here. We got Kenny Eaton over there on art. We got Brad Berg back there and Lisa Castor back there talking about Bob Huddleston. Bob Huddleston is another supporter of ours. He's from North Carolina, and we're going to name this simulator room after him. He's 102 also. And we just flew to him. He's given 2 talks, and he has 9 books written. We're going to sell you those if you want. But he gives us stories about his 36 missions over the Rhine River. So those stories are very important. And every day that goes by, we lose somebody, and so what happens, your attic's full of stuff, your garage is full of stuff, and what you do is give it to your kids, and they give it to Goodwill, because they just are overwhelmed. So you have to learn to give some of your products here with a story that will be saved for the future. And if not here, some other museum. But we're trying to preserve history for the next generation. Thank you so much for coming.
Done.
Yes, what did I forget? We've got 3 major events coming up. You can fly on a B-25, 27th, 28th this month. It's or next month, September. We have Alex Kors coming to talk. He's the father or the son of Eva Kors, who is one of the twins that was treated by the Germans in World War II. And his dad was in Auschwitz for only about a year and a half or 2 years. He's going to talk about it. He's a doctor from up there, Terrell. He's going to come talk to us. So that'd be very good. That'll be on what date, Bruce? October 25th. That's what day of the week? That's a Saturday, 10:30 in the morning here. And he's giving lectures in Europe. He has a book out, and I think you'd learn a lot from him. There's one other thing that I forgot to announce. Oh, come on, help me. One other thing. All right, there's a third thing, and I guess I got the memory issue. I guess maybe at the Alzheimer unit. All right, thank you. What'd you say? Lunch and Learn this Thursday's Dr. Brundick's talking about leprosy and rockets. How they go together, I have no idea. But he usually puts in a good show. So it's this Thursday, you got to sign up now. But it's leprosy and rockets. And he's done 2 talks before, and people love the talks. So we have a talk the first and third Thursday of each month. You have to be over 55 to attend, and you get a free lunch sponsored by the Bronstein Foundation. Thank you very much. Have a good time. Listen to anybody in the red shirt.